Okay, so I think I've calmed down some. I was yelling a little bit in that last video. I was yelling. Now I'm gonna see if YouTube's gonna upload it because it was tripping like it didn't want to be uploaded like 30 minutes after I did it. But anyway, I have calmed down. I'm not gonna apologize for my rant though because I meant everything that I said. Oh, I did. Anyway, I done got so mad and then cooled down. All in one breath, I done forgot what we was gonna talk about. But what we gonna talk about is the lust. That's what it was. That's exactly what it was. Cause I can't even see what it was because I've uploaded it directly from the computer, so it's kind of whack. But excuse me. Okay, when we are born, we are all born into sin. Point blank. Period. End of conversation. So that means that we are born with really nothing good within us. We have a predisposition to sin. We do. It's nothing in us when we're born that would cause us to do right, to do the good of the good and evil, to treat people with love and respect and kindness, to not, you know, go for the gusto and cuss them out, you know, whatever. So everything that we go through in life helps to build our character and helps to make us who we think we are until we come into Christ. Or even know who we are because some things you just know about yourself. And some things are things that God has just created you to do, created you to be. Um, but a lot of things are learned behaviors. So in my mind, and this is just my opinion, in my mind, if you aren't shown monogamy, if you aren't shown a healthy marriage, if you aren't shown the love of God, you won't do the good and the good and the evil. You won't be faithful to your mate. You probably may not ever end up with a mate, just because you simply enjoy living your life by annihilating other people, by just doing what is best for you and not thinking about the interest of other people. Um, and because we have a excuse me, and because we have a disposition to sin, uh, we could just do just about anything. We just feel like we could just do anything, whatever we feel like doing. We feel like we could do that. Um, so anyway, the lust that's in our heart. Lust is something. It is something that can never be fulfilled. It is an ongoing, forever, until you get right thing. Lust, it causes you to want something that you can never fulfill. In my mind, again, I believe that we are all born with a place in our lives for God to feel, for God to be able to speak to us about who we are, what's going to happen, just to speak His truth into our lives. And a lot of times we end up trying to fill that void for God and His love with the love of man. The Bible tells us not to put our trust into man because he will fail you every time. I'm paraphrasing. My bad. Um, so when we begin to look for outside sources for the things that God is going to give us, once we accept His Son Jesus and come into the fold or whatever, um, once we accept that that place is for God to feel and not for us to feel as men and women walking on the earth, we do a whole lot better. So now we're going to have break off time. I have learned, me myself personally, I don't know about anybody else but me, but I know that the void in my life was for the love of God. The void in my life needed to be filled for me to by God, for me to understand who I am, to understand that I am beautiful, to my maker. And what other people think about me, right? Because there's people out there that talked about me my whole life, which I really, can't do anything about because that's how they felt. That's how they were raised. Kids are mean. Stuff like that happens. I was Oh, I've always been ugly. I've always been pretty for a dark skinned girl. I've always been, all of these things and cliches and stuff like that. You know, this, how did you get good hair? Why does your hair curl up when you put water on it? Why does it do this? Why does it do that? Why do you look like this? And why do you have that? And you shouldn't have that because you're too dark, or you're too this, or you're too that. So that, I grew up with all of that. So then I grew up without a father, which I don't know if anybody has given you the memo, but when women grow up without a stable male figure in their lives, and even males, but more so for women, because I know me myself personally, when you grow up without a strong male figure in your life to at least tell you that you matter and that you're pretty, even though you might look like somebody just ran over you with a Mack truck, okay? You might just be plain old butt ugly. You might be, okay? Because we all grow and go through them weird stages. I mean, I was ugly at one point. Just, you just kind of grow into this swan, from this like ugly duckling. But nonetheless, when you don't have somebody in your life to tell you that you're pretty, or that you matter, or that to teach you the love of God, to help you to understand who God is, what he did for you, those type of things as a woman, and value you, and be able to, I don't want to say I'm materialistic, but even to be able to buy things for you, you don't find yourself out in the world, slap in the middle of the world at 16, 17, 18 years old, if not before then, because there are people, young children out there with children that didn't have anybody to tell them that they mattered. You find yourself out in the middle of life, having to deal with life, and you find yourself sleeping around with people to get the love that only God can fill in your life. Or even for that matter, even the fact that you're looking for the things that your father would have planted in your life. You find yourself out there just looking for something, and you have no idea what it is. None. No idea at all. So anyway, that is my point in what I'm saying, as far as men not being responsible for their children, not taking the time to spend time with their daughters or spend time with their sons, so that their sons can know what a man is supposed to be like. I'm not gay bashing or nothing like that, but I'm just saying. You want to be able to take care of your children, and you would hate for your children to end up in some type of lifestyle or some type of mess or debauchery or something, just something crazy, due to your lack of spending time with them, because you would rather be out in the street with Sister Whole Life. You completely annihilate the life of your wife or your husband, and this can be vice versa. Excuse me. That this woman, she probably has grown up without a whole lot of positive influence in her life anyway. She married you not because she was needy, or some people do. She married you thinking that you were going to provide for her and love her as Christ loved the church, as is you're supposed to do in a marriage, because that's what it's all about anyway. And now she is totally left out to dry, because you have now completely disarmed her from any defense that she would ever think about having, because she let down a wall to let you into this most intimate place of her, and to marry her and to be with her, and the least you can do is be devoted to her and not be a hoe. You don't need a wife, you don't need a husband, you don't need a son, you don't need a daughter, you don't need an address, you don't need a car, you don't need a certain job to be a hoe. If you want to be a hoe by yourself. There are plenty of people out there that are lost, and I pray that they come in, including you, if you just so happen to be one of these little hoish people, okay? It's plenty of folks out there that would love to hoe around with you, okay? It's a lot of people out there that don't care about a relationship with Christ. It's a lot of people out there that don't care about their husbands, don't care about their children, don't care about nobody but themselves. And they are out there in the world looking for something to fulfill something that only God can fulfill in their life. So if you happen to be one of those people, you can get out there in the party. It's plenty of folk out there willing to help you go to hell. It's plenty of people out there. It's plenty of folk out there. And then there are a lot of people too that want to help you not go to hell. Man, be responsible for your house, man. Don't just let your children and your wife or your husband just fall to ruins, and then their life is destroyed by the decisions that you have chosen to make. That, my friend, is whack.